President Biden should issue a blanket pardon of undocumented immigrants. I'm not going to read a stupid argument. Basically, the nation is arguing that Biden should basically say all illegal immigrants are hereby pardoned for the crime of entering the country, and Trump can't deport you.
Well, I mean, you could still. I don't know the details of what's in this stupid piece by The Nation, which is basically a communist rag. But the idea that just because you're pardoned, doesn't mean that you become a citizen. So maybe the pardon will say, okay, you're not subject to punishment, but that doesn't mean we can't still wrap you up and send you back home. I don't understand why.
Yes,
why it would mean that they're automatically naturalized.
Like you could pardon them for the crime of entering the country, but that doesn't mean that them being here isn't still a crime.
Well, not only that, but even if they say, okay, this isn't a crime, you being here, but you can say you aren't a citizen, so you need to go back to where you're from. We're not going to put you. We're not going to put you into the. You're not going to have to be punished for it. You're not going to have to go to jail or anything or pay any fines, but we can still remove you and send you home.
I'm just amazed at how tone deaf, how persistently tone deaf these kinds of writers, these kinds of articles are, to not be able to read the room better. I mean, the place that we're at as a nation now is, I think that immigration, undocumented illegal immigration, it has reached a level that almost everyone agrees it's a problem. I mean, this attitude is so outdated. And so it's just interesting after this election to see this still being promoted. It
was like 70% of Americans were comfortable with not just closing the border or building the wall or whatever. It was 70% of Americans were okay with rounding up illegals and sending them home.
And many more Latinos, for example, than the left evidently expected. And I'm from Texas, and I interact all the time with people from Latino heritage, and so many of them are fed up with undocumented illegal immigration themselves. So many of them voted Trump, and they say, really, it's insulting for people to assume that just because I'm from this particular heritage that I don't believe in doing things in a proper law-abiding way, or that and here's the thing too, a lot of people, once they make it to America, they want to shut the door behind them because they understand that if you let too many people in, then you're going to then it's not going to be the place that they were wanting to immigrate to in the first place.
Exactly.
Right?
And another thing that I just want to point out is like the idea that all Latinos are the same.
Right.
That is only acceptable to white people.
It's
right?
so
Like
racist.
Racist people.
What?
Racist people.
Well, I mean,
many of them happen to be white.
I'm not sure if it's intended to be racist, but it's definitely ignorant. If you tell a Puerto Rican and a Mexican, you guys are basically the same, right? They're gonna kill you. They're gonna berate you. They're gonna yell at you. They're gonna call you all kinds of names. They're gonna make fun of you. Like that is absolutely not true.
Right.
So the way that the left just throws everybody into a pot so that way they can use them as a tool against the right. Again, that's the only reason they do it.
Well, it's the same thing with voter ID and the idea that black people can't obtain identification. I mean, it's so or can't use the internet. It's so racist.
Yeah, the term insane. POC was such a racist person of color. Like your skin is a little different color. Let's put you in a box with a bunch of other people with similar
and say
skins don't match
you
mine.
Don't know how to get ID? You're too stupid, or you're too non-savvy about basic internet technology and government procedures to get an ID. I mean, it's just so insulting.
How racist people can become in the attempt to be non-racist is like it's just
in the attempt to project non-racism. Yes, exactly.
Like we're gonna hold up all these other people's skin colors' abilities to do. It's just such I don't know, man. Morgan Freeman had it right. Look, I'm a man, you're a man. That's how we defeat racism.
That's a liberal principle. That's the whole idea is to look at people as if they're people. But the left doesn't want to do that because, as I've said multiple times on this show, happy people don't revolt. So they use race as a way to make people think that they have something to be angry at other people about. They do what they can to incite racial grievance, and that's part of why race has been such a hot topic the past 10 to 15 years. It's because it's intentional because the left uses that to get power. They use race as a way to get power.
And as many people have been pointing out over the past couple of weeks, like Aaron McIntyre is making this point, the Civil Rights Act was the first domino to fall over in what created racial grievance and identitarian grievance. And I don't think they're completely wrong. I don't know that I completely agree 100%, because I do believe that just because we say, hey, man, like, let's be reasonable, don't tell someone they can't shop at your store because they're black or they're Mexican or whatever, we can set limits. But the end result basically turns into everybody will file lawsuits citing that precedent and simply saying, because of my insert immutable characteristic, I am protected and you can't do these things to me. So the Civil Rights Act has basically created the circumstance where everybody now wants to justify why they are an aggrieved class, a victim. So you end up with now gender identity. And the Supreme Court ruling that, yep, if you're trans, you're protected under the Civil Rights Act. And it's like, okay, well, now there's no line anymore because gender identity is not defined anywhere. So we know what it means to be white or not white for the most part. Because the law says race. So if a guy comes in and he's got, he might be white, he might be black, I don't know, maybe a parent or grandparent in there, and the guy says, you look like a person of a different race, so get out. Okay, well, you can't do that. But now what's happening with the gender identity stuff is they're basically saying, like, men can have beards and women can have beards, and men might wear dresses and women might wear suits. Therefore, anyone can be anything at any time, and they're gender fluid. Now that means basically everything is a protected class, no matter what. I think that may get overturned at the Supreme Court, depending on what happens with that latest ruling on gender ideology, but we'll see. But the argument being made by a lot of the post-liberals, these are people who were liberal, and now they're like, hey, wait a minute. The rules and the world that we put into place based on these ideas have resulted in rampant wokeness and grievances. What do you do to solve for it? I have no idea.
Well, you look at reality. I sounded like Dave Rubin there. You look like his accent. You look at it just plaintively, without presumption. Like having a large influx of foreigners illegally into your country can damage the stability of your country. I don't care about what race you are. I don't care about what color your skin was before you got here. I don't care about any of that. I more value the stability of our nation and our community. So if you look at it from the starting point of like, how do we stabilize the system, then I think pretty much like you were saying, 70% of the people are like, yeah, you can't just like barge through the border unaffiliated. Like you can't, it's too destabilizing for any country.
Yeah. Look, the idea of assimilation was something that was obvious and basically universal
and it
for
used
Americans.
To be celebrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at the early part of the 20th century, the people that came to America, the young people weren't allowed to speak the home country's language at home because they wanted to make sure the kids learned English and spoke English, and they all tried to become American. And nowadays, it is more valuable to try to not become an American and be aggrieved. It used to be, I want to become American so I can work hard and I can get ahead because I believe in America. And now it's, I want to get to America so I can get on some kind of assistance because they'll give it to me because I'm XYZ identity. And that is a terrible policy. It's going to bankrupt the country.
I blame the blasted World Economic Forum for trying to disempower the United States greatness and take control with these global liberal economic order banks.
I think that
seeding poison into the minds of the American youth and the global youth. I've had enough of it. We're immune now. And I'll keep going if you want me to.
It's like almost a non sequitur there.
I think that's funny. That's
yeah.
good.
Well, I think this whole idea of like, I don't want to assimilate, I don't care to assimilate, has been seeded in. Like, I remember when you'd go sign up for a website and always what country you're from, United States would be at the top. It was alphabetical, but except United States was at the top.
Notice that's changed.
Now it's at the bottom because it's
Sometimes it is, but I've also seen it coming back and getting put at the top
Why
again
am I
the last 4
scrolling
or 5
all the way
years.
down of every single country in the world to
For
find
a while, I
US?
was like, why is it not alphabetical? Why do I get... And then it was gone, and I was like, wow, we really are the least worst country out there. And now it's back, and I'm like, good. I'm down for some American supremacy, but in a good way. The ideology...
All cultures are good.
Yeah.
Not militaristically. I mean, maybe we need some protective essence on the planet, but like, I'm talking about the cultural benevolence of like free speech and things like that.
I think Ian had this great rant where he said the U.S. military should go and bring constitutional republicanism to all countries of the planet, whether they want it or not.
Wait, the military?
You said that.
I'm not sure if I said military, did I? No, I wouldn't have said that.
You said that you thought it was good that the military was trying to bring democracy.
Hold on a second. You make me sound like George Bush Jr. here.
Bro, you literally said this, and we were all shocked.
We pull up the tape, Serge.
And I can't remember. Like Elad was like, my man.
He would have said that if I did.
It was like Afghanistan, and you said we were bringing constitutional order that would guarantee free speech and certain rights to people around the world.
Damn, I don't think we can do it military. I don't think that imposing authority through force is the way anymore, because the internet, you see it, you see through it. But the cultural awesomeness of the music and the television shows, the little kids that want to learn English from the age of 1, that want to be a movie star, they want to go to Hollywood, that stuff I love.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.